بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. نويت تعلم وتعليم وتذكر وتذكير والنفع والانتفاع والإفادة والاستفادة والحث على التمسك بكتاب الله تعالى وسنة رسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم والدعاء إلى الهدى والدلالة على الخير ابتغاء وجه الله وقربه وثوابه سبحانه وتعالى. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for gathering us in the gatherings of knowledge, gatherings in which we are taking from the prophetic inheritance of sacred knowledge. We have now entered the blessed month of Sha'aban. We ask Allah to bless us in the rest of Sha'aban and allow us to reach the blessed month of Ramadan, insha'Allah ta'ala. Bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, today's lesson we'll be speaking about the obligations of wudu. We finished the first section on aqidah, and we're now entering into the section on fiqh, which will be focusing on legal rulings, how to pray, how to fast, how to make wudu, what nullifies your wudu, and the like, inshallah ta'ala. So, and just a reminder, obviously the rules we are learning are in accordance with the Shafi'i school. We mentioned all the schools are correct. You follow any school, then you're okay. But obviously we're focusing on the school of Imam al-Shafi'i rahimahullah, may Allah be pleased with him, and every single one of the Imams, inshaAllah ta'ala. So we're gonna, in the Shafi'i school, there are 6 obligations of wudu. And we're going to read these 6 through very quickly, and then we'll go into more detail on every single obligation, inshaAllah ta'ala. So firstly, an obligation is something you have to do, okay? An obligation of wudu. So, a very simple example of the difference between an obligation and a sunnah. Okay, so the Dhuhr, we just prayed Dhuhr, alhamdulillah. Dhuhr is wajib, it's obligatory, which means you have to pray Dhuhr. And if you don't pray Dhuhr, then you're sinful for not doing so. Your religion is not complete if you miss the Dhuhr prayer or any fard prayer. So when we speak about obligations of wudu, an obligation is something you have to do in wudu. Okay, if you miss one obligation of wudu, then your wudu is not valid. Now in the Shafi'i school, they don't differentiate between fard and wajib. With the Shafi'is and the other 3 schools, the Shafi'is, the Malikis, and the Hanabila, they don't differentiate between fard and wajib. It's the same thing. With the Hanafi school, they differentiate between fard and wajib. So we say in the Shafi'i school, we say fard, wajib, it's the same thing. So there are 6 obligations of wudu, 6 things you have to do with the Shafi'is to ensure your wudu is correct. If you omit one of these things, your wudu is incorrect and you don't have wudu. Meaning if you prayed, having not performed one of these actions in wudu, your prayer will be invalid. Why? Because you missed the obligation. So before we mention the obligations, we'll mention the adillah of wudu. Allah Ta'ala says in the Quran, Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu إِذَا قُمْتُمْ إِلَى الصَّلَاةِ. O you who believe, when you go to pray, if you stand to pray, فَاغْسِلُوا وَجُوهَكُمْ. Wash your faces. وَأَيْدِيَكُمْ. And your arms to the elbows. أَيْدِيَكُمْ إِلَى الْمَرَافِقِ وَامْسَحُوا بِرُؤُوسِكُمْ. And wipe over your heads. وَامْسَحُوا بِرُؤُوسِكُمْ وَأَرْجُلَكُمْ إِلَى الْكَعْبَيْنِ. And wash your feet to the ankles. Okay, that's the one of the adillah, the proofs of wudu. And there's a hadith in Sahih Muslim in which the Prophet ﷺ says, لا تقبل صلاة بغير طهور. Okay, the prayer is not accepted except on a state of purity. You have to have wudu in order to pray. So the first integral of wudu, the first obligation, the first thing you have to do when making wudu in the Shafi'i school is make the intention. Make the intention. إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. Actions are judged in accordance to their intentions. وَإِنَّمَا لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مَا نَوَىٰ. Everyone will be rewarded or credited rather in accordance to their intention. So you have to make an intention when you're going to make wudu. What's the intention? There's different intentions. The best intention to make is I intend to lift the state of ritual impurity, I intend to purify myself to pray. Okay, we'll go over these very quickly, then we'll go in more detail. The second intention is washing the face. So the second integral is washing the face. Okay, the third is washing the arms, including the elbows. The fourth is wiping over a portion of your head. With the Shafi'i school, it suffices to wipe even one hair on the head, even a portion. Okay, وَامْسَحُوا بِرُؤُوسِكُمْ, a portion suffices. A portion suffices. There's also a sound hadith in which the Prophet ﷺ, once he moved his imamah, his turban slightly backwards, and he wiped a portion of his head. So Shafi'is understood that suffices. The Hanafis said no, it has to be a quarter of the head, at least a quarter of the head with the Hanafi school. The Maliki said the whole head, and that's a difference of opinion in that mas'ala, in that issue. The fifth obligation is washing the feet. Okay, washing the feet, including the ankles. And the sixth obligation with the Shafi'is is doing it in that particular order. You couldn't start with your feet, for example, and then head and then arms. With the Hanafi school, the order isn't stipulated. So with the Hanafis, you could do wudu the other round if you needed to for whatever reason. Okay, so we'll start with the first integral, and we'll go into a bit more detail on each integral, inshallah. The first integral, we said, the first thing you have to do when making wudu is what? The intention. To intend to lift the state of ritual impurity, or to intend to purify yourself to pray. Okay, so you go to the tap, you turn the tap on. The first thing you do, I intend to purify myself for prayer. You make the intention where? In the heart. The place of intention is where? It's in the heart. And that intention has to be present when water first touches your face. And that's very easy. You make the intention, I intend to purify myself to pray. And then you place water over your face. Simple as that. That's the first obligation. The first integral is what? Is the intention. And you can make different intentions. You can say, I intend to purify myself to pray. Or the most simple one is, I intend to make wudu. That suffices. I intend to make wudu, that suffices. You make that intention when you go to wash your face, and you perform the first, and you go to the second integral. Now, these are the obligations, not the sunan. Of course, it's recommended to do 3 times, wash the face and arms, but we're going to focus on the wajibat, what's obligatory, and we'll talk about the sunan afterwards. Because if you missed out a sunnah, your wudu can still be sound. But if you miss the wajib, then your wudu's not sound. Someone says, I'm going to pray asr, I'm going to pray the qabliyah of dhuhr. I'm going to pray before dhuhr, but dhuhr I don't want to pray. It's sunnah. It's sunnah to pray before dhuhr, but dhuhr I don't want to pray. Of course they can't do that. They have to pray dhuhr if they can. They should also pray the sunnah, but they can't pray the sunnah without dhuhr. Likewise, you can't perform a sunnah of wudu, and leave an integral. Your wudu will be invalid in that case. So the first intention is what? Is lifting I intend to make wudu whilst washing your face. Okay, whilst washing your face. Now, there are some instances where the intention made, this wouldn't suffice. Okay, so for example, sometimes women may have what we call chronic vaginal discharge. Okay, so maybe for whatever reason, blood keeps leaving that area. Okay, that private area, leaving the private area. Now, if a woman suffers from that, it means she's always losing her wudu, because blood is leaving that area. Okay? If she's always losing her wudu, yet she's going to make wudu, as soon as she makes it, she loses it again. Or a simple example for men, for example, is what we call, so men that suffer from like intermittent drops of urine coming out. So for whatever reason, a man's unwell, and he can't stop urine leaving his private area. He's unwell. It's a sickness, right? So imagine that he used the bathroom, he goes to make wudu, and then he feels with certainty something coming out. What does he do? Because as soon as he makes the intention, he loses the wudu again. Because using the bathroom loses your wudu. It nullifies your wudu. Okay, so the person that suffers from that sickness, whether it's a man or a woman, they make a different intention. So the normal intention, we said, is I intend to make wudu, right? But if someone suffers from an illness such they're always losing their wudu, they make a different intention. They make the same intention that the one who makes tayammum makes. They say in their heart, I intend to permit myself to perform a fard prayer. right, when they're making their wudu. When they're making their wudu. If there are any questions, please just raise your hand or just interject and I can answer them. So the one that's unwell, they can't stop. They're always losing their wudu. I intend to permit myself to pray the fard prayer. Okay, then they have to make wudu quickly. They have to put something on that area to cover it, right, to ensure the impurity doesn't spread too far. And then they go and pray as soon as they can for that person that's unwell. But for the normal person who's not well, who is well, who has no sickness, they make the intention as we mentioned. So that's the first integral. The first thing you have to do is make the intention. The second integral, the second obligation, the second thing you have to do is washing your face. Okay, washing your face. And the face starting from where the hairline would be, right, to just underneath the chin. And from one's ear, this bit, to the other side, okay? Lengthways, from where the hairline would be, or where your hairline is, to below the chin. And then from one side of your face to the other. And then the borders of the face, of course, where the hairline is, and all the way around. That's the face. So when we say wash the face, it doesn't mean just, splash a bit on and hope it reaches. No, it has to be the whole face. The whole face. When you wake up from sleep, for example, ensure that your eyes, there's no sleep in your eyes. If there's sleep there, there's dirt there, that can nullify your wudu because water hasn't reached the face, the whole face. So washing the whole face. And we shouldn't slap the water on, just gently put the water on your face. And ensure that it reaches the whole face. That's the second integral, washing the face. Okay? The third integral, when we say the face, of course, so the face, all hair and skin has to be washed. Okay? The only exception is a thick beard. So for example, if someone's sitting like talking distance, like a normal, where the camera is, for example, or you're a bit closer to me, if you can see the skin, right, underneath here, that's called a thin beard. Right? So Brother Salman has got a thick beard. Right? I can't see the skin. Even if I was close, I couldn't see the skin in his beard. So that's a thick beard. Right? Likewise, Uncle Abdul Karim, he's a thick beard. Okay? So if I'm sitting next to you or close to you, and I can see the skin underneath the hair, right? You have a thin beard. Okay? If you have a thin beard, it means you need to ensure water reaches underneath the skin. Okay? So when we say washing the face, all hair and all skin. What's the exception? A thick beard. If you have a thick beard and you can't see the skin, then it's okay just to let water run over it. Okay? You're making wudu, you have a thick beard. You don't have to put your hands inside to ensure it reaches. Why? Because your beard's thick, you can't see the hair, you can't see the skin beneath the hair. If you have a thin beard and you can see the skin from normal talking distance, then you have to ensure water reaches beneath the hair to the skin. Beneath the hair to the skin. So washing the whole face, all hair and all skin. What's the exception? A thick beard. If you have a thick beard, it suffices to let water run over your thick beard. You don't have to ensure you put your fingers in, even though it's sunnah, of course, to use your fingers if you have a thick, long beard. That's the second integral. The third integral, the third obligation, the third thing you have to do when making wudu is what? Is washing the arms. Washing the arms, including the elbows. Okay, including the elbows. So from the tips of your fingers to your elbow. And in all of these obligations, the scholars say you have to do a little bit extra to bring about certainty. So when we say face, we said the borders of the face. You have to go a little bit past that to make sure, right? Because you're not going to get a pen and mark, did I reach? No, just go a little bit further to ensure you've washed the whole face. Okay, with the arms likewise, you have to wash to the elbows, but you wash it a little bit more just to bring about certainty. I've washed my whole hand. Okay, on the arm likewise. Marhaba Salman. Marhaba.
Used to wash the arm above.
Yes, mashallah.
Because on the day of judgment.
Mashallah.
Right.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Yes, it's recommended to wash even further up. Right. That's a sunnah. Likewise, halfway to when washing the feet, halfway to the halfway up the shin, recommended. Because on the day of judgment, your limbs will be illuminated with the light of wudu, as Brother Salman mentioned. Now, so all skin and all hair on the arms. Okay. Now, in the Arabic language, obviously, it's a very one word can carry many meanings. So yad means different things in different sciences, right? So in the science of fiqh with wudu, this is the yad, right? From the tips of your fingers to just about to your elbow, because the ayah says, wash your hands or wash your arms, right? Yad, hand, literally, but it can mean hand. Sorry. Does that mean you wash your hand? No, it means you wash to your elbows, right? But in linguistically, the yad is to the shoulder, right? So does that mean the ayah is saying wash to the shoulder? No, you don't have to. Ila al-marafiq, right? Ila al-marafiq. Now in hudud, so when we talk about punishments, it says Allah Ta'ala using the Quran the word yad. Does that mean, mashallah, when someone steals from the shoulder? Of course not. It means to the wrists. Okay. It varies depending on the science. Now, what's interesting is a lot of people, when they first approach a religion and they talk about tajdeed and renewing the deen, the first thing they talk about is let's implement these hudud, let's get these hands, as if that's the way to kind of solve the problem of the ummah. And what's interesting is if you look at the books of fiqh, right? Hudud is the smallest chapter. Punishments. It's the smallest chapter. You have prayer, okay? You have zakat, you have hajj, you have sawm, you have family law, you have inheritance, you have buying, selling, you have this, you have that, and then you have hudud. So why is it when people think, okay, let's renew the deen, let's start with the smallest chapter in fiqh? That's not how we renew our religion. If you can't pray, then implementing hudud is going to be of no benefit to you. Okay, so that's the third obligation. The third obligation is what? Is washing the hands to the elbows. The fourth is wiping over a portion of the head. Now, with the shafi, which we mentioned, it suffices even just parts of a hair. Okay, the ba' li tabi'id means even a small portion suffices. We mentioned the difference of opinion in the schools, and every school has their own dalil. Every school has their own dalil. We don't say one's wrong, we say every imam has his ijtihad. I mentioned the hadith in Sahih Bukhari, the imam that's correct, they have 2 rewards. The mujtahid, the one that's incorrect, he has 1 reward. Even if an imam makes a mistake, Allah will reward him for that mistake. Not like the ami, if we give a fatwa that's wrong, no, we don't get a reward. We're sinful because we don't have that knowledge we don't have that authority. And the fifth integral is washing the feet to the ankles, right? And ensuring, just to go back with wiping the head. Sorry. So if someone has really long hair, the hair you wipe, if you're going to just touch a portion, right? It has to be within the parameters or the borders of the head. So women or men that have really long hair, for example, they can't, if their hair's down, or even if it's up, right? So let's say if it's down first, to make it easy, right? If the hair was down, right? I used to have long hair when I was non-Muslim. If the hair was down, right, you couldn't go like that. No, that's not the head anymore. That's hair outside the borders of the head. You can't say, I wiped part of my head. No, sorry. Has to be within the borders of the head, the parameters of the head. Huh? Aywa, rats, exactly, the rats, aywa. So likewise for a man or a woman. So, but if their hair is tied up, so a woman's hair is tied up or a man has long hair, right? The hair they touch, if they want to just limit themselves to touching a portion, if they were to let their hair down, and that hair that they touch was outside the borders, likewise wouldn't suffice. Okay, so it has to be within the borders of the head. It can't be outside. If it was up and let go or let down, it couldn't be outside the borders of the head. The next integral we said is washing. So there's a difference between wiping and washing. Okay, wiping and washing. Allah Ta'ala says, فَغْسِلُوا. Right, washing means water has to run over. When we say washing the face, you can't just get your hands nice and damp, right, and then that's wiping now. Okay, that's not ghusl, that's masah. Allah says فَغْسِلُوا, which means let water run over, washing, right? But when he says, وَامْسَحُوا بِرُؤُوسِكُمْ, he uses the word masah, which means it suffices to wipe. So when we say wash the face, we mean water has to run over it. Wash the arms, water has to run over it. You can't just get damp hands and wipe over your arms, no. Right? Washing the feet, water has to run over your feet. Has to run over your feet. Once when I was studying abroad in the Yemen, we went to one of the, not local, but it's quite far actually, a town, about 3-4 hours drive from where we were staying. And you'll be surprised by how many people, in those areas don't know the basics of